Hello, Scrufftards, and welcome to the Warzone. I'm Scruffy, and this is Scruffy Tales. And after Ukraine has had some successes at various locations on the battlefield, it does appear as if Russia has countered. Right, Kursk. Not much territory seems to have been traded in the last couple of days. Fighting is still ongoing. It seems as if Russia is trying to push past this valley with some lakes and a small river in it. Lots of Ukrainian strikes at Russian positions over here, vehicles and infantry on foot getting hammered by drones and artillery. So the Russia is trying to move down this way to reach Ukrainian positions, but they seem to be failing. No indication that Ukraine is pushing further south towards the Pesel River, and so far no indication that Ukraine is trying to push down the road here towards the bridge. South of here, we've seen sporadic Russian artillery aimed at the woods here. Doesn't seem to indicate that Russia is trying to push. Maybe they are trying to contain Ukrainians trying to move into Russian controlled territory, but Russia is aiming artillery every so often at this area here south of Plekovo. What else? Russia has aimed artillery towards Cherkaskoye Porechnoe in this area here, so they might be trying to come down this way towards this town, see if anything happens there. And of course, Russia is in the town of Sverdlikovo, but doesn't seem to be able to expand territory, so probably heavy fighting ongoing here, primarily along this street, these buildings. Russia has not managed to cross the bridge, by all accounts. There's a second bridge down here. So fighting is still ongoing. We see Ukraine sending in drones targeting Russian positions here. So far, Russia has not managed to cross the river, which is extremely important. We have seen Russian infantry trying to cross this wide open field, and Ukraine has countered it with the cluster munitions. And also Russia has aimed a lot of rocket strikes at this massive, what I assume to be a massive pig farm. And the reason is, what I suspect is because right here you can actually get across the river Malaya Loknia at this location right here, as you can see. So Russia is trying to destroy this area here, which is a natural base of operations for the defense of this area here. And they're trying to cross these fields to either secure the crossing here or the crossing here. So quite clearly Russia wants to get across the Malacca what's it called? Malaya Loknia River. Since they are struggling up here at Pogrebki, and they are struggling down here at Viktorovka and elsewhere. So they're trying to find other ways to cross this river to get in behind the Ukrainians. That's Kursk in a nutshell, I think. So let's head down to Pokrovsk. And Russia is still gaining territory south of Pokrovsk. My map is a bit of a mess here. I haven't really updated the southern parts here. But Russia is advancing down here. If you take a look at Andrew Pepecha's map on the other maps as well. They are struggling over here to the east. Ukraine is launching some counterattacks. Russia is having trouble pushing up to the main highway here. So we can expect all of this territory here to take months and months and months for Russia to secure, just like we've seen down here south of Pokrovsk. So east will take just as long. So it's going to be a costly campaign for Russia moving up here through 2025. Ukraine has pushed in and secured all of Peshani, but that said, we have seen more and more Ukrainian drone strikes in the mining facility, and I suspect Russia moved up along this windbreak and entered the mining facility here and are now contesting the mining facility, forcing Ukraine to allocate resources to try and push them out. I guess not totally unexpected, since Russia has a direct line here to Peshane via this windbreak from Shevchenko. So I guess that was to be expected. Situation is still very fluid in Kotlina, where Ukraine has launched a big assault into the southern parts of town as well as to the western parts. So it's a bit of a pincer move by Ukraine into Kotlina. And Russia's struggling over here. I believe Russia may have entered this part of town over here at the Dachne. I think that's actually pretty accurate. So we're gonna do something like this to adjust, like so. Whoop, that was a bit too much. There we go. So something like that. And we're gonna move you up here, you over here, and you like that, something like so. And we're gonna make this Russian control as well. And hang on. That's the one. Ding, right? Yeah, we're fine with this. There we go. So Russia has some successes in Udachne, still fluid situation in Kotlina, and Russia's countering here in Peshane, seeing as Peshane is so vital and putting Ukraine close to this dam. A Russian counterattack was to be expected. So we'll see how Ukraine can handle that in the coming days. But we should remember, though, that even if Russia is countering Ukrainian advances, they are still advancing by and large across the front line. We see more and more Russian assaults with Ladas, ordinary civilian cars. And they rely more and more on donkeys for whatever reason. It's mind-boggling. And we keep seeing videos of Russian soldiers taking part in assaults on crutches, like we see in this image. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And most analysts seem to believe that sometime during 2026, Russia will more or less have run out of armored vehicles. There just won't be enough tanks available and infantry fighting vehicles available to continue operations on this scale. Meanwhile, we know that Ukraine will receive Lynx infantry fighting vehicles, CV-9035 infantry fighting vehicles, state-of-the-art armored vehicles, in other words. Rheinmetall wants to build tanks, state of the latest Leopard 2 variants, A7s, A8s for Ukraine. And we keep seeing European countries providing state-of-the-art weaponry, or even providing more and more fighter jets. So Ukraine maintains a high level of standards within the army. Meanwhile, the Russian standards keep lowering. By God, they're using donkeys at this point. They went from tanks to armored vehicles to scooters to golf carts to Ladas, and now down to donkeys. I mean, it's just laughable. And so if Ukraine can hold out through 2025 into 2026, I mean, by all accounts, Russia will have to rely entirely on equipment from North Korea. That is not modern equipment by any standards at all. So, but I mean, I don't think Pokrovsk will fall in 2025, to be honest. it seems as if it just takes too damn long for Russia to make any significant headway in and around the city of Pokrovsk and Myrnorod. Um, and on top of that, Ukraine is now beginning to uh, reinforce existing units instead of creating new units. That means that all the new recruits will be guided through their first months of combat by veterans, by experienced soldiers, experienced NCOs, and what have you. And that will allow experience to travel from the veterans to the new recruits, thereby increasing the capabilities of these new recruits, instead of having completely fresh units that will go into combat without really knowing what to expect. I'm thinking Ukraine stands a chance of breaking and crushing the Russian army, but Europe needs to step up and give Ukraine all the weapons Ukraine needs. We can't trust the Americans anymore with Trump in office. Trump is basically an ally of Putin. I mean, all the peace talks are more or less concessions to Russia and giving Russia what they want from this war. So no, the Trump administration, they are allies of Putin and Russia, more or less. So Europe needs to step up and provide Ukraine with what Ukraine needs, so that Ukraine can push into 2026 when Russia will eventually start running out of armored vehicles. A bit of a rant there at the end. Sorry for that. It is what it is. I hope you found it interesting nonetheless, and that I'll see you in the next one. And as always, go på marsch, Ukraine, and give them hell.